Thank you for joining us this afternoon today at the NSF HBCU-UP CREST meeting. My name is Brittany Clark. I am a EEO specialist with the Environmental Protection Agency, Region 3 in Philadelphia. And today we are going to talk to you about our internship program that we have through our office called the Environmental Science Research Internship Program. And before we get started, I am going to introduce the director of our Chesapeake Bay Program Office, Candace Boyd, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about EPA Region 3 and some of our initiatives with HBCUs before we get into the actual crux of our internship program. So with that, I will turn it over to Candace.
All right, thank you so much, Brittany, and thank you to everyone who's in the room. And I know we have virtual participants as well, so if you can find that reaction button, and make sure you press it. That way we'll know that you are alive and well. And if there's anything that we're saying during the presentation today, we want to engage the virtual community as well. You can use the chat if you have a question or a comment, or again, you can use some of those virtual technology buttons as well. Well, I actually wanted to start the conversation by telling you a little bit about my story. I am actually a product of a student internship program, very similar to the one that you're going to hear about today. I was in college and someone literally walked into my synoptic meteorology class and said, yeah, we have summer internships offered at this place called the National Weather Service, and we're looking for students to, learn, and they can have college credits, and they'll get like $11 an hour, and it's a really wonderful program because you'll get converted non-competitively into a full-time position with the federal government. I heard none of that. I heard $11 an hour. So I literally walked up to the person at the end of the presentation. I stuck out my hand and I said, hi, my name is Candace. I'd like to be your next intern. And 29 years later, I am still working in the federal government, and I'm proud to say that I'm the first African-American female to serve in a senior executive service role in Region 3. So when each of you go back to your respective spaces and places, if you take nothing else from this presentation, it's that EPA has a place for the future leaders that you are cultivating right now. Many of you on your campuses and your universities, you are working with individuals who may not know what their future is. That's how I was. But letting them know that there are opportunities like this, internship programs, paid internship programs in which you have skilled technical experts, and you're going to hear from some of them today, who are mentoring them, who are molding them, and who are encouraging them to succeed. That's unlike none other. And so what you can see on the screen here is that this initiative just isn't Region 3, even though we are proud to be here today. But you can see at the bottom of the screen, our administrator, Michael Regan, the first African-American male to hold this position, he is an HBCU grad. And he wanted to pioneer a program of this nature. And you can see that he actually started an HBCU initiative across all of EPA, which, fact check me, my fellow panelists, over 15,000 individuals? So over 15,000 individuals in EPA, and he has created an agency-wide initiative. Then you can also see from the administrator's point of view, or the Biden administration, there's Executive Order 12320, which is the White House initiative on advancing educational equity, excellence, and economic opportunity through HBCUs. So the point is that in Region 3, we're working to create more MOUs, memorandums of understanding, so we can create these partnerships so that we can cultivate the future, and we can create a pipeline of future enthusiasts who can be a part of EPA in so many ways. And yes, I know we mostly think about the technical or STEM fields, but there's all different positions that we need future leaders to be a part of. So we are Region 3, and Region 3 includes West Virginia, Delaware, it also includes Maryland, the District of Columbia, where we are right now, as well as Pennsylvania. And so across the region, we are looking for skilled future enthusiasts, and that's what this presentation is about. So I'm going to turn it back over to Brittany, and if there's questions, please let us know. But again, if you take back nothing else, is that EPA needs future leaders like many of the ones you are cultivating, and we need you. Thanks.
Thank you, Candace. So to give you a little bit of background on the Environmental Science Research Internship Program, our mission is to provide sophomore and junior students at HBCUs within our region as of now with the opportunity for career development and through paid internships by doing research-based projects and assignments, receiving mentorships through relationships with the staff that work in our regional office as well as some of our labs. And at the same time, while they're with us, they're receiving professional development skills trainings and getting information through knowledge transfer sessions that we provide monthly with the students on agency-specific projects and information and issues that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. So the background is that this program was developed through our Black Employment Program Advisory Council that we have within the region. It is one of our special emphasis programs that focuses on the career development and upliftment of our Black employees in the region. So we are trying to, through the Black Employment Program, is to reach back to our students at our HBCUs and, like Candace said, create a pipeline so we can provide more opportunities for them to grow and develop and be capable students and applicants for EPA when the announcements come out for employment. It's sponsored through our EPA regional leadership. We proposed it to the leadership and they are completely on board, they're fully supportive. So now it's just a matter of implementing the internship as we move forward. And as we are here for the NSF HBCU-UP conference, it is being sponsored or paid for by NSF through the HBCU-UP grants, through supplement applications to pre-existing grants that the universities have for different research projects. The ESRIP administration team is made up of a variety of EPA staff, and we are constantly reaching out to more of our staff to become involved and become mentors and contribute to our interns and host our interns on different projects that the different divisions have. So we like to place our students in interests that they have so that they can be fully vested in the projects that they're working on. So today we have here Jonathan Asoka, who is an environmental engineer who works out of the ORD office, or Office of Research and Development. And we also have Brandy Pickens here, who is a toxicologist in our Superfund and Emergency Management Division. So we have a wide variety of backgrounds on our administration team so we can give them a different experience through the experiences of our staff. And we're, as I said, we're trying to continue to bring on more and diversify our administration team so that we can touch different interests of different students. So the EPA model, the ESRIP model is composed of EPA, NSF, and our HBCU institutions. So for this Venn diagram, you can see how the overlap and intersectionality of the program is all based on the three different components. So EPA currently has MOUs. We have 7 MOUs with 8 HBCUs in our region. And through those MOUs, we constantly work with the students. We attend career fairs. We provide webinars and just do different ways of engaging with the students and interacting with the students so they can get a sense of what EPA is and what we do and hopefully spark some interest in the environmental field. And then we also have recently established a memorandum of agreement with NSF specifically for the Environmental Science Research Internship Program to just solidify this partnership that we have with NSF to work through these grants to support our students. And then the intersectionality with the HBCU-UP grants and the grant awards for the HBCUs, as I said, they're already existing grants that the school has. So it's not a grant that's coming through EPA. It's already established at the schools, and we are just working through the schools to reach students, support the students, and help them find different projects that they can do, whether it's working with the school or working on a project that's specific to EPA. Some of the fundamentals and benefits of our program are that it's established through our Minority Serving Institutions program. I, as an EEO officer in the Office of Equal Employment and Opportunity, I am the new Minority Serving Institutions coordinator, so I oversee all of our interactions with our universities. I just started this position a few months ago, so I'm kind of reinvigorating the program to what my vision is. So I'm trying to look at there as being no limits and no bounds, so that's why we're reaching out and speaking to you today to see where we can go with this. Region 3 ORD labs and centers are where we're trying to find the research projects to pair our students with, and the mentoring opportunities for the students to work with different people at different levels of the agency. And NSF, as I said, is providing the funding through supplemental grants, and the supplemental grants will cover the stipends for the students, as we say, where they are being paid, but it also covers their housing and travel. So we're looking at approximately $10,000 per student, depending on the grant. And the benefits include that we're hoping to shape the next generation. You know, we have more and more environmental issues and problems that arise every day, whether they be oil spills or chemicals being found in different soils and different food sources. We need environmental thinkers to be able to handle these tasks and these issues in the future, and they're going to be from the students of today, and we need to be able to foster them and encourage them and prepare them to be able to handle these issues moving forward. So through the program, the students will be able to learn what we do on a day-to-day basis, be able to identify and recognize pollutants and contaminations and the environmental, social, economic challenges that we have, specifically in environmental justice, which is a big focus that we do today, and be able to relate those to their classroom studies and hopefully, you know, bridge that gap where they're like, why am I learning this today? And this is, because it has practical implications for, you know, my future. And we're trying to increase the student participation while minimizing the university's burden on finding research projects for their students. We have the projects, we have the science, we have the research, we just need the students. And that's what we're finding is some of the challenges for us is reaching the students, and that's where we look to the universities to help us make those connections. We've had a couple cohorts. We've done this for about 3 years. And our first cohort, thankfully, was our best so far. They were 2 senior students, because at the time we were just looking for any students to just, you know, be a part of the project. So we got 2 senior students who were on the track to graduate in the fall. So we crammed our initial program that was supposed to be about a year into 1 semester, and they handled it perfectly. They were both paired to 2 different science projects. One did a project on microplastics in the Anacostia River because he was from this area in Washington, D.C., and the other student did a project on water quality assessment protocols by going out into wetlands and watersheds and doing assessments using protocols that we use in EPA. He went out with a scientist and walked through the protocols that we use to assess, and then he took it back home to his hometown in North Carolina and did the same thing at a national park. And we've just recently heard back from one of the students who did his podcast on microplastics, and he's now in grad school focusing on environmental issues, and he's working on different initiatives in the community for environmental projects. So we're looking forward to having him come back and speak to some of our current students to get, just to give them an insight on how it benefited him and what he's doing with what he learned while he was in our program. We have a monthly curriculum, as I mentioned, where we meet with them and have a knowledge transfer session, and we try to cover every different division that we have within our agency to give them the exposure and the knowledge of what they can possibly go into. A lot of people think of EPA, they might just think water, they might just think air, but we cover a breadth of different things. We introduce them to the environmental law issues that we cover, the environmental justice issues, and also letting them know that we have public affairs careers, we have things in business. As I said, we have lawyers, we have a breadth of different positions that they can go into, and we want to expose them to those possibilities. So now I'm going to introduce Brandy Pickens to give just a brief overview of what our curriculum looks like, to give you an example of what the students that would be involved in our internship would participate in.
Thank you for the introduction, Brittany. I'm Brandy Pickens, and I'm a toxicologist in Region 3, Superfund in the Emergency Management Division. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our program curriculum. Now, as Brittany said, in addition to the great benefits of the program to the students with the research projects and also the mentorship, we also hold a monthly KTS, or knowledge transfer session meeting, where we invite a variety of different folks from our region, maybe in research or in air, various professionals in our group to talk to the students on various issues. As you can see here, this is just a snippet of our syllabus from last year, where some of the instructors led a discussion on air quality and radiation. And some of the topics covered were ambient air pollutants, environment and the health, outdoor hazardous air pollution, space radiation and radon, indoor air pollutants, and biological impacts. And part of the curriculum, each month we like to give the students a little project or a homework assignment, if you will, where we assign a reading passage or a reading or something to read online from maybe a research article or maybe a YouTube video to watch or something like that. And then the next time we meet, we discuss it. So you can see this is just a snippet of one of the required reading assignments, which was the 6 common air pollutants, criteria for air. I believe that that's a document that we, or a research article that we published to have the students look at. And the second one is the EPA.gov indoor air quality reference about pollutants and the impact of indoor air quality. And that was an internal document, that we provided to the students to read for their assignment. We also have folks from public health that come to host some of the KTS sessions. And for the last one, we had Dr. Dana Williamson from ORD, where she's a public health and environmental protection liaison, and she spoke about community health as well as environmental justice policy and impact. You can see here, this is another snippet of a couple of following months' curriculum. And some of the instructors were our own Dr. Jonathan Asoka and Dr. Carolyn Ann Davis Gross from the Air Division, where they gave a lecture on how to prepare and conduct research, the steps to conducting research, how to use citations and research, and also research integrity, limiting research bias. And you can see also here another reading assignment. We like to keep the kids, the students, the interns, we like to keep them engaged. So we like to keep up on our reading assignments and little homework assignments that we give to them and discuss it for our next curriculum or sessions. And as you can see here, for June, we gave a great talk, which pretty much, it was kind of the kickstart to the summer. Now, the summer is where the students really fully engage in the research projects because, again, they're off from school, and so they don't typically have classes during the summer, so that's the time to fully engage in their research projects. So this was a kickoff to kind of talk about their designated research projects and the expectations of what to expect with their research over the summer. And also, we gave a session to talk about essential professional skills that are needed when you're beginning to prepare your CV or resume, and navigating the USA Jobs website when you're looking for pathways, announcements, or internships, or future career options within the federal government, not just the EPA. And when you get that referral for a position, the next stage is interviewing. As we all know, you need many people need to brush up on their interviewing skills to be able to land the job. So we also help in that endeavor to getting them ready for not only the job application, but as well the interview process. And we also talk about equal employment opportunities, EEO, and also provide professional skills and workshops. So I'll turn it over to our next speaker, who's going to talk about successful pilot cohort EPA, the EPA NSF MOU. I'll turn it over to Jonathan Asoka.
So hopefully you're hearing that this is extremely student focused. We want to expose EPA to HBCU students, and we want HBCU students and institutions to be exposed to EPA. Brittany mentioned we need environmental professionals to solve these myriad of problems that we have going on, not just in our country, but around the world. And We're finding that many of these students do not have a concept of what the Environmental Protection Agency is and do not even know how they can contribute except maybe in local venues. So this is why we really have this thrust. It's not really, we also are working on real diversity initiatives within our organization, recognizing that we need different points of view for being successful in the EPA. So what is next for this memorandum of understanding that we have with NSF and the MOUs, a memorandum of agreement we have with NSF, the memorandum of understanding we have with our HBCUs? Well, this year we have a new cohort of students. We are gradually moving up. We started with 2, we had 3, now we have 4 students. And we're looking at trying at our best to get 6 to 8 students per year to deal with, to instruct, to mentor, so that we're not overloading the region, but at the same time we want to demonstrate success so that all of you and your institutions in the various regions around the country can see a model that works. That is our foremost goal. We want this to stretch throughout the country and not just be a local program. That's always been our goal. So we also are coupling with our Office of Research and Development. And for those of you who have sat through the 2 plenary sessions, you have been able to hear and listen to the different research opportunities that NSF has. And in ORD, we have some of those. They're providing money. We're actually providing the full-out research. So we want to be able to dovetail not just our Office of Research and Development opportunities, but also the regional ones, and match these students to these projects. Brittany mentioned also about how we want students to be able to do something that they're interested in and they want to forward, not in their community and within a broader research context. And so in total, as mentors in the EPA, we're taking on the responsibility of being mentors and providing research opportunities so that these students can move through to completion and provide presentations to our broader management and to our staff. So it's really a soup to nuts type of arrangement that we're trying to foster. But again, we need students. That's what we're looking for, students from your institutions. In the next, as Candace mentioned, we're trying, and I've said we're looking to expand this program. We want this to be a nationwide thing. Because NSF has the capacity, it has the partnerships with you all as folks in your university organizations. You have the students, you know your environments, you know what kind of students are the ones that are going to continue to move on into the research-based learning. You know which ones are hungry for internship opportunities. We want to be able to take those students and be able to and have them exposed to what EPA does. At the same time, we want you to be exposed to what these students can achieve within our institution. So part of this is our research and outreach. Is our outreach today to start getting this word out a little bit more forcefully. We've done the administrative work with NSF to get our memorandum of agreement in place. We have done work regionally with some of our local institutions to get our memorandum of understanding signed and to interact with the faculty and students there. But at the end of the day, as we started off with, we want this to be a national program. So we really do need you, your vision, your insights into your university, your insights into your students to start thinking about how you use all the mechanisms that are heard during lunch and heard earlier through NSF to say, hey, how can I help my students to get real world expertise in an institution that wants them there and that's going to provide opportunities more than just research and science with mentoring as well. Is this one, Brittany? Okay, thank you. So we did mention a little bit about this. It's, I don't want to belabor this, but we have a range of different folks in our organization, and they go from business and law and scientists and researchers and engineers and the whole thing. We talked about the university connections that we have and that we're trying to strengthen. So I'm not going to keep on this because I think I've spoken to that point. So let me turn to Brittany for the close, and thank you.
So as we mentioned, we need students. I think that's one of our biggest challenges today, is especially post-pandemic, is before the pandemic, it was hard to reach the students. Now, after the pandemic, it's becoming, it's almost impossible. It seems like their mental shift has changed to something else, where it seems to us where they are not pushing for what's happening after college, at least from our perspective. So we are trying to find that connection, and I think it has to come from the universities and through the faculty who work with the students on a day-to-day basis, is where can we find that gap to help them understand, like, you need to put in the work before graduation so that you are set up for success when you do graduate. And that starts with doing internships in your sophomore and junior year, and not waiting until senior year to start looking for how you're going to set yourself up for employment. So again, we need students. We are hoping that, we can build stronger relationships, not only with the students, but with the faculty and the researchers at the universities, because we need your help to find the students and to help support the students once we identify who they are. And then you can also, as professors and faculty, help us understand what you need from us as a university and what type of opportunities you're looking for also. So with that, I am going to end our presentation today. I thank you so much for attending. We hope that you have a few questions for us, and that we didn't just spiel information and you didn't learn anything. So we are here for you. And here's my contact information and Jonathan's information as well if you think of something later. And again, thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Are you taking questions now?
Yes, I am.
The internship opportunities, how long is the internship
So the question was, how long is the internship? Okay. The first question is, how long is the internship opportunity for? And because they are through supplement applications from your existing NSF grants, they would likely be up to 2 years. That's why we're looking for sophomore and junior students, because we want to at least have them for 2 years. We're looking to have them all, we engage with the students through the semester. In the summertime, they actually do like the hands-on research, whether that's in our regional office in Philadelphia or in one of our labs. And then the same thing starts again when they go back to school. We engage with them through the semesters. And then in the summertime, they would hopefully be able to work on the same project, or they could work on a different project. We haven't gotten to that point yet, because as I said, we had our first cohort were seniors, so they graduated and then they were out of the program. So we're looking for sophomores and juniors now, which we have now. So hopefully they'll be our first cohort to go through the entire program.
And so in summer, like how many weeks?
In the summer, the question was how many weeks in the summer. I believe it's 8 weeks. So we know they most students get out of school in mid-May or towards the end of May. We want to give them a little break before they have to jump in. So we look to start maybe like mid-June through mid-August, right before they go back to school.
Okay, and then the last question. Once you're done with the program, is there a plan to hire these students, or is it all just the interns?
So that is something that we are still currently working on as of right now. At the end of the program, it would just be, so let me say this. During the program, we're doing everything we can to get them in. So we are developing them professionally. We're going to have their resume up to par while they're in the program with us, so that as announcements come out, we can have them apply and work through that application process with them. But we are looking to, at some point, try to figure out a mechanism similar to the pathways mechanism that we have, that we hire through EPA, where they are automatically converted to a permanent employee. So that's something that we're working out. It's with the federal government, things are always.
Can I chime in?
Yes, please.
In addition, what some of the things we found, it may not be universal, is that one, the application process for the federal government is difficult. The USA Jobs is just not the same as applying anywhere else. And number two, when we have students that we are kind of looking at HBCUs, again, as mentioned, they don't know what EPA is. So just the exposure and getting them prepped is a huge, huge hurdle that we're looking to overcome, because we're finding that once they're prepped, we've had lots of intern programs in Region 3. And once these students are prepped, it's not difficult. But when you're comparing to some of the other students coming from PWIs, they have a cohort that understands what EPA is. And they have a better grasp on the administrative process of getting into the federal government. So we're trying to reduce that barrier of entry to the students by moving through this program, and then eventually, as Brittany mentioned, hopefully try to get something that's within the regulatory realm that we can convert them into full-time employees.
Thank you. I think no, somebody over here with your hand up next.
Yes, I noticed that this program is aligned with, or you have aligned it with HBCUs.
Mm-hmm.
Any plans to align it with other MSIs?
Yes.
And the CREST program, for instance?
So I'm just learning about the CREST program, so that would be something that we have to look into in the future. But so along with expanding it nationally, we are hoping to expand it to other MSIs, because as I said, I'm the MSI coordinator, so I can't just be focused on HBCUs, even though I am an HBCU grad, so they're near and dear to my heart. But the goal is to increase our diversity, and we understand that it's not just African Americans, it's all MSI. So we do plan on, at some point, but we're trying to not bite off more than we can chew and start off, small, get the program to be tight and successful, and then we plan to expand. So yes.
Yeah, I'm asking this because we have actually students, but that could really fit into
Mm-hmm.
the program, but I don't see right now any mechanism
Okay.
to really collaborate.
I mean, we're open. Like, the way I look at things is, if I'm trying something one way and it's not working, I'm definitely open to trying it another way. And if that's, expanding it from HBCUs and also including other MSIs at the same time, I'm not closed to any opportunities. So if you have students and we can't find students, then maybe we have to go that route too, just to try, if you have the students. So we maybe make a note of that and get your information.
Yeah, we gotta get your information.
Yes. In the back.
Okay, you are talking about Region 3.
Mhm.
I don't know if you're like Atkins, I come from Atkins. I don't know which region.
Where is Atkins?
Atkins?
Oh, Arkansas. Where is that region? Is that Region 5?
No.
6?
6.
I think that's Region 6.
Region 6. Okay, are you saying that somebody from Atkins, like our students, can't apply to Region 3?
I think everything is so virtual now. Like the students that we're working with right now, when we work with them through the semester, it's virtual. So someone from another region probably could. It'd be the same thing, that they would be able to work, attend the sessions virtually the same way our students are now in Region 3. And then, yes, you're Region 6, so you're in Region 6. So they will be able to attend the virtual sessions throughout the semester. And in the summertime, as I said, I mentioned the NSF grant covers the stipends, room and board, travel. So if we had someone who wanted to work in one of our offices or one of our labs in our region, in Region 3 from Arkansas, the NSF grant should cover that for them to stay for the summertime and work on their projects. So that's definitely an option. And that's why we're looking to expand nationally, because everybody's gotten so comfortable being virtual, we are able to do the program virtually for most of the year. Did anybody else want
Yes,
to?
I think if it is possible, I would be very happy if I can get more information about this program. In my university, the University of Arkansas, UAPB, I am the interim director of undergraduate research.
Okay.
Part of my responsibility is to find internship for students, especially for summer undergraduate. So when you were talking about it, I would say, wow, how many students do you want? You want 20 students? I will bring them to you. So please, I want to discuss more about it. And is it possible for your organization to have understanding with individual universities? We work towards that.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we can do that. In addition, because we are so regionally based, so we have our 10 different regions, we would also want to make sure that we interact with the Region 6 office, so that we're not trying to take over the world, but we're working with our counterparts throughout the country to make sure there is a full understanding of what the program is, what we're doing, and as we continue to say, we started in Region 3 because this was our brainchild. So we started in Region 3 and we're trying to stretch it, but we want to make sure we have proof of concept that it works, but at the same time, opportunities that are coming up that you all are mentioning are well within our ability to deal with.
So maybe we can can you start like a sign-up sheet for everybody that's here, and that way we can get everyone's information?
Okay.
And we'll pass it around so that we have everybody's information, and ours are posted up, but I would like to have your information too, so that we can follow up with anybody that's interested. Yeah, so you had a question?
Kind of a dumb question, but it was brought up.
No such thing.
What are the current wages you offer for the internships?
So the question was, what are the current wages for the internships? We're finding, so right now, the two interns that we had were with Lincoln University, and because this is the university's money, this is the university's grant, we are learning that it's pretty much up to the university. We want it to be fair, and being that we've only worked with Lincoln so far, that we kind of let them steer the ship for what they wanted to do. So I believe that what was it, about $400 or $500 for the semester?
Yeah.
Just for the semester, just for them to log in and participate in these webinars, they were getting like $400 or $500 for the semester. And then in the summertime, the wage increases because they're working more full time. And when it comes to it, that's the proposals for them to get, what's it? I think maybe like 4,000 or something, like for the summertime, because they're working, right. And these are undergrad students, so it's not, it's not a graduate student where it would be more money, but because I said it's about $10,000 per student per year, so we just had to work with the numbers, and we tried to budget so that we could account for, we would like to send the students to certain conferences that come up that we think that they would benefit from, so they would have to, the grant money would have to cover that too. So, but we let the school steer that ship, because they also said that, what they pay their other interns is about this much. So they didn't want to pay an exorbitant amount, because we came up with a number that we thought was nice. And they were like, that's a lot for an undergraduate, and that's not what we pay our other undergraduates and other programs. So like I said, it's their money, so we can't tell them how to spend their money. So it's pretty much up to the school at that point.
And what about funding from EPA?
There's no funding from us, and that's the way that we are able to move between schools and have the less red tape that we have, because once the money comes from us, there's so much more oversight from our office, and you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to do things this way or that way. Whereas if we're like, this is the school's money, this is an NSF grant, we are just the vehicle for getting the students the exposure to EPA, and that way we cut ourselves out as a middleman in terms of money.
So the funding is mostly coming from supplements, is that what you said?
It's entirely from supplements, yes. If you have an existing grant, you would just submit a supplement application to support students. And again, it comes down to, as Carlita was saying, how you word and the language you use in your supplement, because it may not be that your student is working on your project specifically, but they can do a project that can kind of feed into or something that can help support your project. And it's just the language. And if it's solely just about giving your students an opportunity to have an internship, it really depends on the language, whether they're actually working on your project or not. It's just the language of how you're going to support an intern.
And then if we submit a supplement, you'll be involved on that as well, right? Part of that supplement?
No, I think we're not even.
We can provide some the ideas for what the student can do, but we cannot be a part of the supplement process.
But in the sense of letter of support, saying that, this is where you're going to be holding.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we can do letters
We
of
have letters of
support. Yeah,
support.
we can do that, we can do that. But as far as writing or provide, no, we
Yeah.
can't do it. And that's really the beauty of this thing. Everybody does their job. University does its job. You have students. We want to get you internships. EPA does its job. We have professionals that are mentoring and providing research opportunities. NSF does its job. It provides money for STEM-related fields. And that's it. So everybody does their thing, and we have agreements with all so that it works synergistically. So we don't, and we're not crossing, or as I always like to think at Ghostbusters, we're not crossing beams. We're not crossing beams and making the universe fall apart. We're not doing that. Everybody knows how to do their own job, and we just have agreements so that all this can happen.
Yeah, but so he's, I think to supplement what he was asking was, supplements, we have these are partnership supplements. So we are partnering with you to
Yes.
to do something.
Yes.
And we write the proposal.
Mhm.
Not a problem. We write we set the budget.
Mhm.
That's not a problem.
Mhm.
And so we do all the we carry out all the process, but we have to have some connectivity with you so that they see, or the reviewer sees that, okay, these guys are actually trying
Right.
to do this, and these are going to be the benefits, not only for students, but also for the program.
Yes.
Right.
And then a letter of support from you guys
Mhm.
indicating that if this is approved, supported, then you will do that A, B, C.
Yes.
And our
Yes.
memorandum of agreement helps to smooth that road as
Right.
well.
Right.
So
We-
we're not,
we
it's
al-
not coming out of the blue. They
Right, and we
understand.
already have that in
Carlita
place.
is the one who, who's managed the
She
whole
managed the whole thing.
process
There are-
with us.
Right, so we already have that established. So even a letter of support, I mean, we would definitely provide that. But since we already have that memorandum of agreement in place, I think that serves as a,
Well, I think it would be very easy to really expand what you are
Mm-hmm.
proposing from HBCUs to CREST centers, because it's a matter of getting together with the CREST director,
Mhm.
with Luis Cubano, and then establish, these that we are doing with HBCUs, and we can do it also with CREST centers via supplement.
right, yes. Thank you.
Okay, Jeremy, I'm from Federal State University. So I have a question. I actually doing genetics, genomics. How can my research actually connect with EPA and the low funding system that actually turning on something?
Well, in the Office of Research and Development where I sit, we have a number of projects. So, and they range they go in different directions. So, for instance, I'm on one that has to do with childhood health and obesity as a result of climate resilience. But part of that project, yeah, part of that project is doing lab studies on chemical obesogens. It's looking at this socio-historic information that comes from particular communities. It's looking at getting perceptions of communities. So a social science portion and a natural science portion. And so a lot of our projects are that. And they're not just looking at a single effect. They're not like single chemical studies. A lot of them are more holistic studies, so you're bringing in different aspects. So in your case, we have a lot of research, so I couldn't possibly name all of it. There may be a research project that works directly, that has a direct connection with something that you're doing, and that for one of your students, it would provide them a legitimate connection to this research, and be able to also expand it with the different aspects of environmental study, whatever the research path is going toward. So there's a lot of research happening in the Office of Research and Development, and a lot of opportunity. It's just a matter of looking.
Right, so it would be something where we would reach out to ORD and say, is anyone doing any research on genetics or how environmental factors affect certain people with genetic dispositions, something like that. And then hopefully we get something back from someone to say, I'm doing a research project on this, or we look through a database and see anything that has anything to do with genetics, and then we would bring it to the students or bring it to you, say, is this something that you think is connected to your research?
What is the deadline to submit this type of program?
I'm sorry, you said it one more time?
What is deadline?
The deadline.
I think it's based on NSF's schedule, so I know that they have a deadline for their proposal supplements, and I think that's usually like
February.
like somewhere in the early spring. So that's when you would have to get your supplement in by then to be able to support students for like that fall semester. So just to have the funding and make sure that it's in place, and then we would take on students in the fall for the next cohort.
So, but first, we would want to create some kind of relationship. This isn't like just write a proposal, here's a grant, take your money and go. We're very relationship-based, and that's what is fostering the better connections with our HBCU partners, is having conversations, understanding what the program's about, understanding your student base, and then we're able to kind of move through the process and get students on board.
You're welcome. Yes.
So I
I have to direct that to somebody. I don't know anymore.
So, you said you're in North Carolina? So where's that? Is that region? That's region 4.
That's 4.
Plus 4.
Yeah.
So outside of our program, it would have to be something where we would have to circle back with Region 4 and see what opportunities they have. But I know that there are pathways, internships that they're offered on USA Jobs, and that's usually, I know that they go through the summertime. And then I'm not sure, I mean, I only know, are aware, well, no, I have a little inkling of other MOUs that there are with HBCUs from EPA across the region. So we'll really be looking at what schools have MOUs, or if your school doesn't have an MOU with EPA, trying to establish one, because through those MOUs, which is under our Minority Serving Institutions program, like the goal of those MOUs is to establish a presence at the schools and to have, to engage in certain projects at the university that, you know, sometimes some of the projects that we do are for the university to work with their local community and on different environmental issues, so that way that they're working on a research project or a project with EPA, but it's not necessarily at EPA, but they're still working with them. Delaware State University just completed they completed a project where they had students use it as their capstone project to work through the certification program for NELAC certification, and I forget what the acronym stands for, but they are able to do official lab water quality sampling for different federal agencies. So they're a NELAC certified lab, and they had the students go through that process with EPA's staff in our, what's LSAT stand for? Laboratories
Laboratory
and Applied
Sciences
Sciences Division. So that was a way for them to work with EPA staff. And they did that through the semester. It wasn't necessarily just the summertime, but they use that like all throughout the year as their capstone projects for their senior projects.
There's also one thing, it came to me, in Office of Research and Development, there is a program run down there out of Research Triangle Park office by a woman named Kelly Witter. And she has a STEM outreach program that's local. So she works with, I don't know if she worked with A&T. I would almost, I mean, she's got to. But if you contact us or put your name on this little, Kelly Witter, Witter, I can get your question to her pretty easily.
So if there's any existing MOU with our university, it would be with reason for that.
Yes, it should be.
She'll know that.
Oh, yeah.
She'll know that.
She would know
She
that.
should know
There
that.
should be, I mean, if there is one, because we have a couple of HBCUs in our region that we don't have MOUs with yet. It's not an automatic thing. It's just, because even that is a matter of finding the right faculty member who is going to take on that initiative and that role of being the point of contact and putting together a team. And we find that that's an issue sometimes. So if you would like to step up to the plate for that and you know, be ready for that, you know, I'm sure somebody in EPA would be willing to establish that partnership.
We can do that. That's not hard. It's just a matter of letting us know, and we'll funnel these to the right folks.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions? No? Are there any questions? Are you guys able to check if there's questions online? Okay. All right. Does anyone have anything else? Okay.
No.
Well, I thank you all for joining us today, and I love the questions. I'm glad you guys had questions. If you have any follow-up questions, our information is here if you were able to write it down.
Yeah.
If you would like to share your information, we can share the presentation with you on this sign-up sheet, so you have the information if you want to follow up later. And again, thank you for your time, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.